Hey, good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. I want to talk tonight about something very important. Given the date of this live stream, it's been a little while since I've been live at this channel. We've been live at this channel, if you will, because this place shall be a place for a lot of people to come and show up to participate in. So this is not about me, it's about we. So yes, Sir Raymond is back. Yes, indeed, and I'm back to talk to y'all about this important subject matter. So without any further ado, let's get off into it. Well, I'd say this much, just as pretty much the thumbnail that you see. There's a lot to be said by that. And there's a reason why you see on the screen for those checking this out on the replay, and even for those that show up as I go live here, as we go live here, you see instant sauce, huh? This actually has a lot to do with the title of this live stream. So, for starters, we are basically are going to talk about this thumbnail. We're going to talk about it from the standpoint of, well, I have talked about a few important movies regarding this subject matter of real gentlemen don't fit in. The first live stream to this title, basically volume one, it showed Denzel Washington playing in the movie called Man of Fire. And of course, yeah, y'all know that I do fire things for all of my thumbnails here at this channel. This is for all of us to know what life has been like and what life has been like and what life will continue to be like for many of us. The second live stream to this one, volume two of Real Gentlemen Don't Fit In, showed Keanu Reeves in the John Wick movie. In particular, it was John Wick Part 2. In this particular live stream here, volume three of Real Gentlemen Don't Fit In, this thumbnail was straight from the movie The Django. And it was towards the latter part of the movie when Django, played by Jamie Foxx, burnt down the slave master's mansion after he pretty much got rid of all of them. he pretty much decimated everybody there because all those people were about treating people inhumanely, to put it best. So he dealt with that. And of course, as he's walking away from the blazing inferno of the master's house, per se, there was a gal waiting on him. And she had been through similar things he'd been through. They have a similar story. And she was just waiting on him so they can walk off together, away from all those cinders behind them, behind him, that scorched earth. And just to go back to the name on the screen that you see that is being used here, instant sauce, huh? Well, if you look up Gucci Mane, yes, the rapper Gucci Mane, he talked about sauce. So just look up, even here on YouTube, Gucci Mane explains sauce, or Gucci Mane talks about sauce. Simply put, he just talked about how you're not born with sauce. You got to actually acquire the sauce, and that sauce is basically something that has to come with seasoning. You ain't got no sauce if you don't have no seasoning. So really, true sauce is not instant, even though you can buy it instantly in the can these days or in a jar. But most people who really have a knack for sauce always felt like it needs a little more seasoning. Some people probably think it doesn't need any more season. Yeah, to get more seasoning in the sauce, it makes the sauce too salty. Have less seasoning or no seasoning at all makes the sauce bland, just tastes real bland. So I say that in light of this title of Real Gentlemen Don't Fit In, because real gentlemen have been through the seasons. They've been seasoned. And there's not too many women on this planet that will understand this type of man. Not too many other feminine will understand this type of guy, let alone want to be with him, because it just seems like he's always going through so much. He just has too much seasoning. But that's what makes his sauce. That's part of who he is. So, in essence, what one can describe as sauce is the way that person is. Simply put, like, what's sauce to you? Well, sauce is the way that I am. I wasn't this way just overnight. It took time for me to become this way. Now, I might have had certain ingredients already in life, depending on what has influenced me, my upbringing, my environment, things like that. But you got to put all that together to make the sauce, baby. You got to put that together to make that sauce. So I say that to say that that's in essence what Gucci Mane was saying. Like everything that he had to basically go through, everything that was a part of his life story, he was able to put that all together and that became his sauce. And I think that's all it really is for a man, where you're thinking about how can you taste better or yeah, taste better or have better taste. Well, you probably just need to add a little more seasoning. You have to go through your seasons, per se, seasons of life. And yes, the right woman will be there for you and trust you through those seasons. Now, what if she say that, well, you're becoming too salty? Well, you're supposed to actually be there to help him get through the seasons, the seasons, if you will, or even just, if it requires less seasons for him to go through, less other seasoning per se, just less, not none, but just yo, you're there to kind of help him get through that. So it's not really just even avoiding the seasons. It's just about things being made better for him because you're there for him. See, a lot of girls uh, in these times don't want to think symbiotically like that with a man. Like, yeah, you're part of his life and his seasons, if you will. And yes, you're part of his beef. Yes, adding beef to the sauce if we want to go there. So whatever his gripes are with life, whatever his complaints are about life, his strains, his losses, maybe not all his gains, all this stuff, his pains, that's your beef. You take on that beef, you put that in the sauce. That all goes together for this seasoning. So the gal that was in that thumbnail with Django, she was part of the season that he had to go through. She had to go through some of that torture that he had to go through. Like they just have like a similar story. And sometimes it's like this, fellas. Sometimes you might find a gal that she don't have to necessarily go through the things you go through in life, but she has a similar story because she's been through that. And she like, look, I'm with you. I'm not backing out of this war. Let's fight. I already been going through a certain thing. So it would have been nice to have someone like you by my side, someone that just still being positive about life. And we just all we needed was each other. And that's really it. If you think about it, like the right type of person for you in this life is someone that's willing to go through life with you. You got people out there that want all the sunshine, they don't want to deal with the rain. Well, you tell them, hey, enjoy your vacations, right? But we over here putting in work. Yeah, we're going to enjoy our wonderful times outside of work. They call those having a break, you know? But in life, there ain't really like these vacations. We can have good breaks, though. We can enjoy just what comes with life in between the storms. And that's kind of the way you write things off in life and how you know who was there for you, who cares for you, and who did and who did per se, when it comes to character things like that. So yeah, the real gentleman doesn't fit in because his story, his seasons, whatever was his sauce, like only a few people really know the value of his sauce and what that really tastes like. And so for the girl that gets in this man's life that uh she appreciates his sauce, that's the girl that's worth it to him. Maybe she wasn't perfect. Maybe she was like this. Let me sprinkle a little bit of this. Let me as far as like um based on what you went through in life, there could be some added value that she can add to your life. Like, yeah, based on what you've been through in life, she can add a little more value to that. just to make things easier for you. So that's kind of like sometimes when you see somebody cooking, they kind of taste the sauce along the way as the sauce is developing, and they see what works best with it and what shouldn't work with it, right? And that actually determines the way that sauce is supposed to be as time goes on. So sometimes, yeah, depending on the girl that's for you fellas, like she's going to add value to your life. That's the girl you want in your life, really. I mean, this really isn't all complicated regarding getting with a woman, especially in these times. But it's just a little more to it than just saying that she's not your type or y'all not compatible. It's deeper than that. And hopefully, I'm simply explaining that right now as we speak for y'all, as far as being a real gentleman. Because especially if you are a real gentleman, which is rare than just a average man per se, you're gonna find that not many girls will really appreciate your taste. They're not going to like your sauce. We talk about sauce in all these flashy and swagged out type of ways, but in real life, only a few girls going to really like your taste of your sauce. Only a few of them. You got good sauces and you do have bad sauces too, right? But we're not talking about the bad sauces today. As based on the thumbnail, we're talking about the good sauce, the girl that's just there with you through the seasons. She's there with you through the seasons. And this is why gentlemen don't fit in because a lot of gals nowadays they don't want a guy that seems like he's always going through something. Where he's just constantly got these things going on in life. He needs help with this and that. But actually, no, it's just you adding to the sauce. You're supposed to be part of the sauce. Now, when they talk about someone getting lost in the sauce, really all it is if she's just been on the other side, right? She ain't been with you. She's just been so caught up in so many different sauces she don't know how a real good sauce is supposed to taste. She ain't been around you enough to understand that. She's been around all these other different what flavors, right? And so those flavors didn't have no savor, and it affected her behavior, right? So it's like, dang, think about this. She didn't know what real sauce tastes like. It's pretty much almost similar to she didn't know what a real man was like even when she got around you. And that's no pun intended, but I mean that like when she got around you, you being a real man per se, she didn't really know what that was like. She's been around so many other guys, similar to she's had different sauces. It's kind of hard for her to know a good sauce from the bad sauce. But to be honest, she just hasn't tried your sauce. She hasn't tried it at all. She just doesn't know what your sauce is really like. She doesn't really know what real masculinity is like either. She might think she know or she has a lot of pride when she gets around you, especially if you have shown her things she's never seen. She'll just play it off like, oh, that's nothing new. I've seen that before. I've been around guys like you before. When she know good and well that's not the case. She knew there was something very different about you, something very intrinsically different about you per se. And some girls will write it off like as if they're a food reviewer, like they've tasted it all. And she knows good and well you're like a 10 out of 10, right? But she'll still try to downgrade you to like a 5 or a 6 per se. Because see, things like this here, uh, the way that a gal might be judged per se, as far as her being an 8 or a 10 or things like this, is uh based mostly on her quality per se, right? And the way a guy is kind of judged is not really based on his quality, but based on his rarity. How much does he really stand out amongst other guys? So I'd say guys avoid a girl that wants you to be like other guys because you should be able to be yourself. Ain't that what they tell y'all to be yourself? But see, this is why real gentlemen don't fit in because apparently they are too much of themselves. They are too authentic, as they would probably say out here. And it's like, well, he's what too genuine too? Like, so what happened to people being more genuine and more authentic now? Now that's kind of like lost in the other sauces per se. Yeah, you get around a lot of award-winning pit masters and things like that. You've tasted every type of whatever's out here, whatever you like. I don't know, brisket, pulled pork, uh, ribs, you name it, right? Oh, smash burgers. Let's go there. Even though that's more of a griddle thing than a pit thing, right? Still here nor there. You've tasted it all, and now you're just trying to see what's the best one out there. So kind of like this with a lot of gals. You might be the right guy for her, but in her mind, she thinks you're not the best guy for her because she's always searching for the best instead of the right. Get it? She's always going left because instead of knowing that you're right for her, she's always looking for the best. And it's like, no, that's not how it works, sweetheart. But that's her quest. Get it? See, I'm really dropping a gem for y'all. But this is what's really like for a gentleman. A gentleman just stands out with his authenticity. And so throughout life, you just continue to be your authentic self. You never chase. You might pursue, but you never chase. There's a difference. Because, like a wolf, wolves don't chase, they pursue. That's how they hunt. They don't hunt based on chasing, they hunt based on pursuit. This is how this works. Well, a pursuit becomes a chase when the wolf was able to actually pounce down on his prey within the first 100 to 200 meters. Now it's a chase. And now who knows if the wolf is going to actually be able to get his prey? You think the wolf's going to continue to chase after that? No. He's going to say, no, this just becoming a chase. It's supposed to have been a pursuit. We should have been able to lock down this prey within the first 100 to 300 meters. I mean, wolves are made for endurance. Don't get me wrong. They will run you down, and they've been known to do that. That's kind of why they are made the way they're made versus felines that are more stalky and bigger than canines nowadays because they're made for more ambush style. But even with wolves, even though they're made for long distance pursuits that hopefully don't become chases, that's the thing. That pursuit only should last so long, only enough to where the prey wears down, and now it's time to chow down. But when you see that prey won't let up, you just say, "Hey," you just let it go. And so that's the thing, fellas. Some girls you gotta let go because she's just not worth the pursuit as time goes on. You don't let too much time go by. You don't let it be a lengthy process either. Keep that in mind. Because she should already value your authenticity. She should already appreciate your sauce, right? And so the thing is, if she lacks empathy for the things you've had to go through to be who you are and what you have to endure on a regular basis, if she shows any sign of any lack of empathy, you offer no sympathy. You let her go, and you work on making your life more of a sympathy, a symphony, if you will, without her, because you need someone in your life that values your sauce, that values you, your flavor, everything. Like I said, she's always out there on this quest to look for the best, to look for the next. Kind of like in the food world, people review food all the time. They don't really know what's truly authentic no more because everybody's just now trying to look for what's the next best thing, right? Gals try to look for the next best guy all the time instead of a guy that was actually more authentic than the rest. And that you find out over time as you actually start to appreciate one's life. So, a lot of gals you can say nowadays, a lot of them are very selfish. Only a few are selfless, not selfish. And that's just because if she's truly selfless instead of selfish, that's because she's had a similar story to this guy. She can relate to the flavors of that sauce. It's something that it's as they would say, it's a comfort food for her. So she has comfort in you. There's something comfortable about you. So yeah, Gail just don't appreciate you when she doesn't feel comfortable about you. You can see it. You can tell through the way that she conducts herself. So you going through all this fiery blaze of life, dealing with employers per se, all these people trying to be a giant to your David, where you have to walk away from like the burnt bridges they made with you. You got to constantly go through these ups and downs, and she's not there to support you, let alone give you a leg up on stuff, not necessarily a handout, but a hand up. She ain't trying to be none of these things for you. She's not trying to be comforting to you. She's not trying to appreciate your comfort. Like I said, the comfort food. She's not the one for you. Okay. She's got to be there for you going through it all, which being there for you, even taking on your beef, adding beef to the sauce, like I said earlier. So that's the girl that you want by your side, fellas. But this is why real gentlemen don't fit in, because the girl that he wants to be like that, a lot of girls are not trying to be like that nowadays. Only a few are trying to really ride and die. Uh not ride not ride or die per se, but ride and die per se, as far as like you're there with him. You're there with him through it all. You're not going anywhere. So it's one of these things where it's part of that old school love, and I see that it's so lost in these times that men now have to be Superman in many ways, emotionally, even when it comes to life. Ironically, Clark Kent had humble beginnings. He didn't grow up as a billionaire. No, he was sent here from the planet Krypton into Smallville, Kansas, aka Hutchinson, Kansas. Look it up. Actually shaped just like the Superman emblem, the whole stageography. Look it up. Humble life versus Bruce Wayne, right? He lived on the country farm, became very corn fed, even though he was already strong. But he had to go through life as any human. So it's like showing strength. He rather show humility, and that's what he did. And as far as what he went through, he like, yo, I'm no different. Like, I'm not going to live no different than anybody else. Even if I have special gifts about myself, I'd rather come off a more humble person and some gal that appreciates my humility. Don't see me being a certain way as a cop out. No, a lot of times it's just me being humble. Some things I don't like to give myself credit for. I rather just see where credit's due. I rather see something being done about it, right? Things taking place. Like, she's more of supportive of a man like that. These are what real men used to be about, per se, regarding perception. This is what one used to be seen as the iconic type of man, the ideal type of man. Whereas now it's like, no, that's kind of a rare commodity these days, but it becomes something one depends on when your life depends on it, right? So you only get around a certain gentleman, a certain guy like that when your life depends on it. Wow. So he could never depend on you, but you always want to depend on him. So it's sad that's the way it works. So a lot of girls nowadays, they do that when they, I guess you could say, hit the wall, if you will, based on the terminology out in these spaces. Sometimes, like, now they're like, hey, I need a guy like this to save me. Like, look, this guy just been through a fire himself, and you can't even comfort him. Basically, help him to help you. What do you think Lois Lane was for? What do you think she was about? She took care of everything regarding Clark Kent so he can continue to be Superman. Therefore, he always made sure Lois Lane was covered under his cloak. Not necessarily a cape. I think he had more of a cloak than a cape. Y'all let me know which one he had. But it goes along with this Captain Saver, you know what? You've been through your own fire. You're not trying to save someone that's trying to put you back in the fire that they have on themselves, let alone the fire you came from. Like, sweetheart, you want to stay that way. Scorched earth is about getting through it. It's not about being a part of it. It's not about dwelling in it. You're getting through it. You see these wings on my back in this live stream right now. You look at the screen, you see these wings on my back. I had to go through some fire in my life, but it's all the things that are behind me, but it's also my motivation moving forward. I don't let it consume me. I don't let it just tear every part of me. It's a part of me. I don't let it consume me. I let it stay behind me, per se. And yes, no diddy to that. Yeah, but these are things that, like, when you have the right people in your life, not just only the right woman in your life, they know that they appreciate your sauce. They seen the superiority of your sauce. They love the flavor. They know what makes the flavor what it is, and they also know what doesn't. So they'll remind you about maybe certain people, places, or things to avoid, because that will only make your sauce bitter. And they don't want to see you turn out to be a bitter person either. They care a lot about you because they know that's what makes you you. That's what makes your sauce taste that way. That's what makes your sauce that type of sauce. The people that really love you and are close to you, they know that about you. They know about your sauce. They're familiar with that type of flavor in their ear, that brand new flavor in their ear, in that sense, rest in peace. Shout out to Craig Mack with that. But this is something to keep in mind. I mean, with nothing else more to say about this topic, I'd say, yeah, fellas. I mean, yeah, no sauce is instant. That real sauce, that authentic sauce, the sauce uh, that your OGs, your old people would make, especially if y'all come from a very cultured environment. Like, you know what it takes to make that sauce. No sauce is truly instant out here. Yeah, regarding life, same way. You want to be around people that understand all that you've been through. They don't abandon you as you continue to go through this process of development of your sauce, of your life. They're there through it all, so that when people finally come to the taste test and they somewhat get an idea, wow, I wonder what went into making that sauce. And then you can look at them and be like, only if you knew, but only if you truly appreciate. But I am glad that you like my sauce because they see the drip, right? They see the drip on you. They see the way you carry yourself. They see that confidence. You know what I mean? But they also should see that humility. They see all this stuff about you. They see the shades, you like the word. They see the way you talk. They see the way you walk with your shoulders up high. They don't know how many miles you had to carry a backpack on your back walking down the interstate because you didn't have a ride and you didn't have enough money for a Greyhound. They don't know that story. They don't know the story of the times you had to just leave with nothing but a bicycle because your family kicked you out when you were 16 years old. They don't know about that. They don't know about how you had to endure things through life, through a lot of physical pain when you ran out of medical insurance and you had no family, nobody to support you, especially if you were a military veteran. They don't know about these stories. But all this made your sauce. All this made you who you were. If you were bullied, but they didn't realize one day, you know, you're gonna be a beast to the bull. Real talk. And I'm not speaking like I'm from Philly. I'm not from Philly, but it just sounds very Philly just now. But yeah, that's just how that is. Uh, all that's gonna be part of your sauce. All that. And so, yeah, the right woman in your life, just keeping it in line with this thumbnail that I have. She sees that, man. That's the girl that's golden, man. And she'll never use that against you. So yeah, watch out for the gals that like to throw the hot bowl of whatever sauce or whatever right back in your face, because they do that, right? Gals do that literally, but even also in a non-physical way when they talk about all these trials and tribulations you've told her about, and she uses that against you, talking down on you. That's like literally her throwing a hot pot of sauce right in your face. You know how some gals do, they like to throw bowls of soup and stuff like that when they get mad at their other. I won't even say significant other because she's not treating him significantly at that moment. But yeah, she'll throw some oatmeal or some fish grease on a dude. Like, yeah, watch out for girls like that, man. Like, they are to be avoided. So even in a non-physical way, if you feel like she's throwing your sauce right back in your face, scalding hot, man, yeah, you can't trust her after that. She just added more wounds to you. She just added more to your wounds, you know? And that's going to be a lot of healing in that, because now it's just you washing off that sauce. But that's going to even add more to the sauce because that will make you remake the sauce over again and make it much better the next time, so that you know for sure the next person won't throw the sauce right back in your face. You'll figure it out. We all do in this life as we want better for ourselves, especially getting through this scorch earth. Just making sure we don't get consumed by the flames or be caught up in the game. Y'all stay well out there.